Welcome, everyone. I'm Alan T, and this is Alan T's Got Answers. This is the start of the third episode, and what I wanted to do was just jump right in to the questions, but I had to come back and add to the intro and warn you guys that I had some technical difficulties on the first question. I had some audio difficulties that popped up, and I try and do everything in one take. Just because I just start rambling, so I want it to be spontaneous. So unfortunately, I'm gonna leave those audio issues in there. It starts in the first bit of it, and then I guess maybe 45 seconds or so in, the audio starts to get really scratchy and very annoying. It only lasts for maybe 20 seconds, and then it goes away, and then it continues on. So I'm really sorry for the audio difficulties. Just bear through it. It's going to get annoying, but I really liked how the take turned out, so I just didn't want to redo it. So there's that. And then I only did two questions this round because they got kind of long. And on the second questions, I started having difficulties with I had a beard hair that wanted to tickle my nose, and so I really got annoyed with it during the take, but I was having such a good time telling my stories that again, I didn't want to stop the take either. So I just left that in there too. You have to excuse I'm playing with my nose, trying to get my beard hair to go where it needs to go. But to kind of make up for it, I actually had a bunch of bloopers or outtakes on this one, way more than I've had on any other one. So what I'm going to do, it's going to take a little extra time, but at the end of the video, so stick around to the end of the video, and I'm going to upload those blooper videos or outtakes where I'm just not having a good time and trying to figure things out. And so I'm just like, you know what? These are great. Why don't I just share these? So stick around to the end, watch the bloopers, but stick around for the whole thing because I really had a good time with this one, other than the technical difficulties and the beard hair up the nose. So anyways, let's get to it. So this next question is, what is your favorite sandwich for lunch? And you know, when I saw that question, I'm like, man, I can really answer that in like one word and just be done with it and go on with the next question. But that's not entertaining, and that's not really going to get the job done of what I really want to do here, which is kind of tell my life stories by answering these questions. So it's like I'm doing my own TV show or my own little sitcom, and everybody gets to kind of find out about my life, but they got to decipher it through all these questions. So anyways, moving on to my favorite sandwich. I mean, I do have a favorite sandwich. It's changed a little bit over the years, but really it was just the type of meat that I put in the sandwich. It started out as a ham sandwich and it went on to a turkey sandwich. But you know, growing up in the 70s, man, sandwiches was just a staple. I mean, every kid had sandwiches. I mean, and every kid packed a lunch for the most. It wasn't until I moved to Georgia that I had school lunches. Prior to that, when I lived in a little town called Beeville, Texas, I went to the little Baptist church school. And of course, they didn't have a cafeteria, so we had to pack our lunches. So it was very interesting when I moved to Georgia that I went to eating school lunches. And so I started out with my, ham sandwich as a kid in Beeville. and then, abandoned it in Georgia for the school lunches. And so I still ate the ham sandwiches, on the weekends and stuff like that. But for my lunch, my everyday routine, it kind of went to the wayside a little bit and went to the school lunches. And so then, kind of fast forward through school, obviously, school lunches were the norm, even through middle school, up until about high school. And I do remember that maybe it was my sophomore or my junior year that I actually I had a car at that point because I could drive at that point, and I didn't live too far away from the high school. And although we didn't have an open campus, I still left. I would get in my car and I would drive home, and I would make a sandwich for myself and make a sandwich for a couple of my friends, and it was a plain sandwich. I think at that point in time, I think it shifted to turkey in high school. Maybe turkey. You know what? I can't remember. Maybe it was still ham. But anyway, so I remember, doing a typical American sandwich where it was just, bread. And then I liked mayo, and then I liked mustard on the other side. We didn't mix the two. One was on each side. And then a slice of a cheese, the fake cheese, the sliced cheese on, 2 slices. And then I'd put the ham. And then one thing that was kind of like a little special treat is I would take some iceberg lettuce. My mom would buy like the big head of lettuce, and I would just rip off a couple pieces and put it on there. And I remember my friends, when I would bring it, they were like, "Oh my gosh, I just never thought about putting lettuce on a sandwich," and it made a great difference. It put a little bite in it, and so it really made it fun to have that back in my life. It seems kind of trivial to say to have it back in my life, but then I ate that sandwich, for pretty much the rest of my high school career. And then I started working right out of high school, and then I started at this body shop. And, of course, we would go out to eat, and McDonald's and Burger King and all the fast food stuff. And I wind up, the shop wound up moving from the location that it started and moved to a location that's close to Belle Chase Highway. And then shortly after that, I actually bought a property next door. So I actually started walking to work, which was fantastic. And then it got to the point where I'm just like, man, why am I walking home, which wasn't very far, get in my truck and then go somewhere to eat? So it was at that time, it was right after I wound up moving into that property that was right next to that body shop, I started making my sandwiches again. And you know what? It's just kind of funny because, in a circle of life, I'm back eating my sandwiches again. And so, it just felt normal. And so then, moving along in my life, I worked for that body shop for 20 years, almost to the day. And I had an opportunity for a career change. And what it meant was leaving that body shop, which I guess the owner of the body shop, me and him butted heads as anybody would after being together for 20 years. But if it wasn't for the opportunity that he gave me at that body shop, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be sitting here. So I owe a debt of gratitude to this man for giving me this opportunity. My voice is kind of cracking up a little bit because so I really want to thank him and thank his wife for putting up with me for all those 20 years. And to kind of get out of this before I start, really losing it here, is that when this opportunity came up for me to leave, I really wanted to give him the 2-week notice, but because of the circumstances, I won't go into details, I didn't really have 2 weeks to give him. And I remember sitting down and talking to him, at work, and asking him, but just telling them that I've got this opportunity and I have to take it. And, he didn't fight me on it. And I appreciate that because that was tough. It was tough walking away from that. It was really tough. And come on. And so I left. I left 20 years and my ham sandwiches, turkey sandwiches, I'm sorry. And I started this new thing. And I started traveling. So I had to leave all my friends, had to leave everything behind. And and I'd go away for months at a time. And sure, right at the beginning of it, the guys that I went out with to work that really, I mean, they helped me out. They helped me get started. We would go out to eat every day. And I mean, that's just what needed to happen. And that's just what I started doing. Well, after about the second or third year of doing this new career, I got to the point where I kind of got tired of going out to eat. And here I am again. I'm back to my turkey sandwiches. And it's just so weird how this little thing just was so consistently coming back into my life when I felt like I needed it the most, and helped me just kind of level out a little bit. And then, again, as life goes on, eventually I moved away from it. And I haven't had a turkey sandwich in about maybe 2 years. And I changed my diet for multiple reasons, 52, not to get involved with, hormones and stuff like that. But as men, our testosterone levels drop and stuff like that. So I tried to do things that circumvented that. So I did change my diet up to try and, help circumvent those issues. And so I did move more towards it's not a strict carnivore diet, but I do eat fruits and I do have some vegetables. But I noticed by shifting to that, and I guess basically I stopped eating carbohydrates, and I noticed a huge change overall in myself. And I think I was 230 pounds, and I'm averaging right now about 184. So, the food that we eat has a dramatic effect on our bodies, and the food we eat has a dramatic effect on our psychological well-being, in the sense that here I am answering a question about what my favorite sandwich is for lunch and telling my almost a complete life story, almost to tears, and all of this because of a turkey sandwich. But that's the interesting part of all of this. That's the interesting part of life, is that we can have different things that come and go and have meaning at the time, and then also give us meaning to reflect on those times and to enjoy them for what they were. So I think that's going to be my final answer is, what is your favorite sandwich for lunch? It's a turkey sandwich. Thank you very much for your question. So for my next question, what is your favorite color and why? And that's a tough one. See, for me, colors tend to be more based around the circumstance of the item or things that I'm doing. And so my tastes have been eclectic over the years. I mean, starting early on when I was a kid, and I used to go back to visit my mom's mother back in Beeville, Texas, after we moved to Georgia. I used to go back and spend my entire summers with her. And I've always been big into bicycles, and I did the BMX trick stuff when I was a teenager too. And I still ride a bicycle. I still got my BMX bike, still the same one from when I was 15. And but I remember in Beeville, Texas, that I would go to the local hardware store and I would get spray paint. I would get some crazy colors like the crazy neon orange and neon greens, and I would find local bicycles that kids were throwing away for whatever reason, and I would sand them down and paint them. And I remember just like holding the thing and just spray painting my hand and the whole thing. And I obviously didn't do too good of a prep job because the things would start to peel. And but yeah, early on, just wild and eclectic with my color choices, never really setting anything, kind of down in stone. But as I got older, then black became a thing. I mean, obviously it's still a thing because I have black sheets straight behind me. I have black tablecloths here. right now I'm just, trying to keep the focus on me. Not that I'm super pleasing to the eye, but this is the whole point, is me telling stories. So I didn't want to clutter up the background too much. I mean, I did add in, the keyboard and the bass guitar just for a little bit of color. And then I do have the laptop that is recording right now, and a little mixer and speakers and stuff like that. But so yeah, this circumstance right here, I used the black to try and accentuate what I want to be the focal point. And so, but going back to I guess the high school years, I like black clothing, and I'm gonna have to dig up some pictures. I wish I had my yearbook here, because I have some just awesome hysterical pictures of me in high school. But I think I do have one, and I'll have to find it. And there's a couple other friends in there. I'll have to try and see if I can blur them out, because I don't have permission to use their images. But I'm totally sporting my black Z Cavaricis. Oh, I was in style. I wasn't, but I thought I was, but I wasn't. But yeah, I love the black Z Cavaricis. And then I'm pretty sure that's the portrait that I wish I could find, my senior portraits. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I had this black like sweatshirt, and I cut the neck out, and I cut the sleeves off, and then I cut it at a half shirt. I mean, a half shirt. Come on, what was I thinking? And then I wore it for my senior photos. And I remember, like, I'm posing, leaning up against this thing with my leg up, and with my leg kind of pressed up against the wall, and I'm sporting this. I'm just a stud. And I'm showing my lower part of my stomach, and I'm just, what the heck was I thinking? It's so hysterical. I love pulling it out and showing people, because you know what, I do like making people laugh, and if I'm the butt of the joke, it's totally fine with me. I do like making people laugh, and that picture makes people laugh every time. But yeah, so the black in high school, I wore that a lot, and even my car, not necessarily black, but I did paint it white. I had it was a hand-me-down. It was the family grocery getter. It was a 1974 Volkswagen Dasher station wagon. I mean, it had brown pleather interior. And when I got it as a hand-me-down, it was banana yellow. I mean, just canary banana yellow. It was just obnoxious looking. And I knew I wanted to paint it. And so I wind up taking it to Earl Scheib. I think back then, I don't think it was $99.95 back then. I think it was $119.95, inflation, And, but man, I painted it white, and I sported that thing the best I could, because, it was all I had. I was super gracious and super thankful that I had a car at all. Again, we didn't grow up with a lot of money, but I at least had a car to drive. And so, yeah, I painted that thing white, and I'm going to have to dig up pictures for that one too, because I had a friend who had a Mitsubishi little Mighty Max, and it had the ground effects all the way around, and he damaged the front one in an accident. And so the insurance company sent the whole kit, but he didn't need the two sides and the back. And so I wound up buying it from him, and I didn't even know I was going to be in the auto body industry at that time, but I quickly learned how to fiberglass. I grafted those ground effects onto that Volkswagen Dasher, and I thought it looked awesome. I'm sure some people thought it was just dumb, but I thought it looked awesome, and I, painted them white to match, and it was a lot of fun. That car was just a lot of fun. Growing up, just the things that me and my friends, the places that we went, the things that we did, was just a lot of great memories. So yeah, so going with that, that was white, and I do like white, like on house exteriors. I like white with black trim. It's a popular thing for me. We have some rental property, and I did a rental house, and that same exact thing, white with black trim. And I think it looks super sharp. So again, going back to circumstances, it depends on the items, depends on the things, is what colors that I'm going to use. So even with that said, if I'm trying to think of what is my favorite color, so I can't really say that I have a favorite color, but I can say that I have a color that I've used a lot. And if I have to say that one's my favorite, I would have to say it's that one. And that color is orange. I mean, I've used orange all across my life. Early on, right out of high school, I had a Chevrolet S10, an 85 Chevrolet S10. And right after I started working for the body shop, and the owner was training me to paint. And one of the first overall paint jobs I did was painting that truck, and I painted it Chevrolet orange. And man, it looked super cool. I was super pleased. It was the first overall paint job I did. I was so excited about that. And then, moving on from there, I had a '69 Cadillac. It was a two-door, and this thing was, oh my gosh, it was like 100 feet long. And I wound up painting it like a copper color. So, in the orange vein, but copper. And man, it looked so cool. It was so much fun to drive, and the people, it was just an odd car to see, especially that color. And I remember it was low already. And one of my buddies, whose dad's a welder, went over by his house, and we grabbed his torch and did the old heat the spring trick, where you heat one side of the spring and it collapses, and then you heat the other side of the spring and it collapses, so it lowers the car. And we were doing that in his dad's garage with his dad's fiberglass bass boat in there, and his dad come running out there screaming at us, telling them, "What the heck, y'all gonna blow that car up? You're gonna blow my shop up?" And just a lot of great memories with that. And then moving on from there, shortly after that, I wound up getting an old Harley Davidson, like a '77 model, and wound up painting it this orange color. And I painted it an orange base. And then what I did is I came through and I took 3 paint guns, one with a blue and a red and a green metallics, and I kind of polka dotted it. And then there's this trick where you can make it look like a bowling ball, where you spray some reducer on it that softens it up. And then you take saran wrap and you put saran wrap on it. And then at a certain time, you pull the saran wrap off. And it just kind of smears and pulls all those colors together and makes it look like a bowling ball. Makes it look like a piece of marble with whatever colors you choose. And so the paint job turned out so cool, and it was so chaotic that I wound up putting like some silver flames over the top of it. And I think I have pictures of that too. I'll have to start posting a bunch of these pictures on here. And then, I've been a drummer. Been a drummer forever. I painted a couple drum kits. I did a red and white fade on one, but the main drum kit that I played for the band Edge Set Mary, I copied the paint job off my Harley. I wound up painting it that marble bowling ball kind of orange color, and it drew attention every time we played. I'd pull it out, and on stage it just looked wild. And I think the orange just is a color that sits out to me and just stands out. And even in the recent years, I guess like maybe 5 years now, we bought a 2012 orange Jeep Wrangler, a 4-door. Outfitted it with the rooftop tent. I gutted the rear seats, gutted all the rear interior, fitted it with a refrigerator that slides out, storage, just all kind of stuff. And me and my wife spent, I think it was like 63 days out on the road, traveling all through California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona. We went through Death Valley, camped in the most beautiful spots that you would ever imagine. Just had a fantastic adventure. We went all the way up the Coast Highway, so where it starts in Los Angeles. Couldn't wait to get out of Los Angeles, but we started there and just went right up the Coast Highway. Just amazing views, and we went all the way up to the end, where it's Cape Flattery. It's at the most northwestern part of the United States, and we went to the park, Cape Flattery, and then there's another little, from the little parking area, you have like a 1.5 mile walk to go out to the very end, and it's like this little wood thing that they have out there. And we actually started a Facebook page. I think it was Chris and Danny Adventures or something like that, to document the whole thing. And I'm sure maybe some of my friends that might be watching this might remember that. So yeah, we had that orange Jeep, And that was just like I said, a circumstance that I wanted it to be seen, and I liked the color on it. And then with my work, I do paintless dent repair. I do hail damage repair on cars, and so I travel around. I chase hailstorms, and I go into areas that got damage, and I go in and fix the cars. And then once the majority of the cars are done, then I move on. Well, I've started designing my own tools, mainly for me. Some of them have sold in the industry, but not really. But you can have like different colored handles and stuff, and so I wind up using orange. And so yeah, here we are back to as I start thinking about all the different things that I've done over the years, if I had to like nail down a color that I can't really say is like my favorite, but I obviously tend to go to it, that color would be orange. So a long, drawn out answer to what obviously was normally a simple question. To answer it finally, like my final answer is going to have to be orange. What is your favorite color and why? My color is orange, and you'll have to rewind it and watch the whole thing because I can't go over all my bullet points again. Let's see, how long is this? Oh my goodness, we're like 15 minutes and I'm talking about a color. Okay. Thank you so much for your question. Y'all take care. So this next question is, what is your favorite sandwich for lunch? Now, when I saw this question, I'm like, I could easily answer that with one word and just be done with it and move on to the next question. But that's not very entertaining, and that doesn't get the job done of what I'm trying to do here, which is more or less me telling my life stories through all these questions. So I'm going to scratch my nose again because I've got a beard hair that is killing me. And I probably should shave, but I'm not because I don't feel like doing it. Okay, let's try this one again. Okay, so I had to run. Okay, catch my breath here. I decided to go trim my mustache because it was irritating me. Now I'm out of breath because I had to run up 2 flights of stairs and run back down. I think I got enough battery to maybe do this one. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Come on. Just stay with me here. Oh my goodness, I almost flubbed on that one. I don't know what's going on with my nose hair, but it's ridiculous. Several times I'm like digging up my nose. It's like it just goes, it grows straight up. I don't know. It's annoying. I need to trim it. I should have trimmed it. I just did a quick trim earlier, but for some reason I guess I missed it. Oh my goodness. But I made it. Okay. Moving on. So the next question is, What is your favorite color and why? See, that's a tough question because for me, colors are like they circumstance. It's like my inner Swedish chef just keeps coming out every once in a while, and let's just keep him in, and let's see if we can do this again. Okay. Here we go again. So the next question is, what is your favorite color and why? See, the colors for me are apparently very difficult for me to even say anything because I just don't even know about nothing. I'm stupid. Why am I having so much difficulty with this one? I just got to get started. Okay. I usually do everything in one take. If I make a flub in the first like minute, then I might stop it. And so far this is like the most I've ever stopped it. Because normally I just start going and then I just if the flub happens I just let it go. But this is getting ridiculous. I got to get past this one part. I might just even have to take that part out. Okay. Take 3.